It's another episode of the Culture State Podcast being brought to you by Pop-Up Murphy's Pizza.
That's right. Every Tuesday, get any large pizza for just $10.99. That's right, $10.99. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza, Chris.
Oh, I'm about to go get some pizza right now, homie.
North Carolina. Shot, Jordan. Michael Jordan. Hey, what do you say?
It's a long way. There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yeah!
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
It is cold outside.
I love it.
I hate it.
Give me more of it.
Hate it. This isn't what it's about, man. Welcome to Culture State. I'm shivering Chris Lee. That is
I'm comfortable Dennis Cox.
I'm so cold now. I hate it, man. Like mornings that are below like 68 degrees are dumb. It's just dumb. It's just dumb, like why?
Don't get me started, Chris, because I will take the entire podcast, actually make multiple podcasts to explain why it is amazing, how it's comfortable, how you sleep better, how all those things apply.
It is not comfortable. I'm not sleeping better. I am not comfortable. I'm cold. I can barely function when it gets below like 50 degrees or gets below like 55 degrees. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's really stupid.
Whatever, Chris. Get out of here.
Anyway, I hate cold weather. There's certain things I don't like about media members either.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Yes, we're definitely going to get into that. So our guests today, we're going to have Joel Berry and KJ Smith, former UNC Tar Heel basketball players who are also going to be working now with the ACC Network, which is really exciting to see that. So Chris and I, we should take this opportunity. There are some things that other media members do, the way they ask questions or what they do that really do drive us up a wall.
You know what I hate? And people at home who aren't a part of the media, you won't understand this as much. But with Zoom and the pandemic, well, I say with the pandemic came Zoom and came moderators. And so schools will actually moderate the questions and will call on people. I like that.
Yeah.
Going to ACC Media Day and getting back to the point where it's like whoever's question is the loudest and most forceful is the one that's going to get out there. Like, I absolutely hate that. And then people get testy with you. And they start like, you just have one person, they're sitting there and they're basically like in a fishbowl, and all of a sudden everybody, hey, coach. Hey, coach, listen to me. And it's just a shouting contest. And I hate that. Absolutely hate that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that part of it that drives me nuts in that same context. So again, using ACC Media Day as the example. So you got Coach K or Hubert Davis up at a table, at a podium. All the media members are like distance around like a basically like roped off area, but we're allowed to ask him questions and things like that. So again, it's just a pool of reporters. The thing that drives me nuts is that other people are trying to get their questions in, and the same people are like, I want to ask a follow-up, and they just randomly start jumping in and asking questions. It's like, dude, you've asked 4 questions already. The person right next to you is trying to ask one. Let him ask, or let him or her ask a question.
Yeah.
Like, that drives me up a wall. It's like, have some respect for the other people that are also trying to do their jobs.
Yep.
And the same thing in that context is that if someone asks a question that's basically the exact same as yours, don't just reword the same question. He or she just answered it. It's like, come up with something new. I'm like, okay, you have maybe a different point of view on this.
I kind of agree with you, but for television purposes, right? When you're looking, and here's the thing that makes television a little bit different than radio and print. And because I know sometimes, and coming from all three worlds, I understand why you say that. And then I understand why you reword a question for a television purpose, because sometimes you're just kind of listening for the best soundbite. And even though they answered it, they may not have answered it the right way. So like, for instance, Matt Rule, Coach K is like this. They'll start something and then they'll start to make the point and then they'll circle back to something else and like completely change. And so that's a lot of different editing. Sometimes you just need that clean 10-second soundbite And so you ask something maybe in a different way to maybe get them to approach it in a different way so you can get that soundbite. So I get that. It is annoying, but but for television purposes, I get that. All right, go ahead. Go off.
It's just things like that. At least for me personally, it's just kind of like, well, no wonder Coach K is getting annoyed. He just got asked the same question 5 times in a row from 5 different people, just with a slightly different wording. It's like, Coach, what are your thoughts on your upcoming season, or your final season? Coach, this is your last season. What are your thoughts on it? That was the exact same question. Literally the same question. And he's like shaking his head he's like, I just answered that. You know
what I hate?
Yeah. Anyway,
I hate the talk about, right?
Oh,
Where
yes.
it's not a question. Hey, Coach, you guys are about to start a new season, and I know that you have a lot of great recruits, and you're probably excited to coach those recruits. Talk about that, will you? What's the question?
There's no question.
What's the question?
There's no question.
What's up with this talk about mess?
Yeah.
I hate that.
It drives me up the wall. Or just making a statement and expecting a player or coach to just continue on after you make a statement. Hey, that was a big win over a conference opponent today.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I agree to your statement.
Yes.
It's just little things like that drive me up. And you know what's even funnier is I've heard media members complain about other media members not asking questions and just making statements, and then they themselves just make statements and don't ask questions. It's like, what are we doing here, people? I always try, and when I do interviews, try and keep the question open, direct, but short. Like for example, like we are in our previous episode where we're at ACC tip-off, just asking guys like Hubert Davis, Kevin Keats, Manny Bates, hey, what makes North Carolina what makes basketball in the state of North Carolina so special? Boom, that's it. Open-ended, go.
That's something I could get better with, because I do kind of ask long-winded questions, which I hate it when other people do that, though. That's the thing. Like, I do the thing that I don't like, where you try to show how much you know about the person before you actually ask the question. Yeah. So, Coach K, you've coached 42 years at Duke, and 47 overall, and your wife's name is Mickey, and you have 3 daughters, and you also have a son-in-law that works in radio as well. He used to be a coach, and he does some work with ESPN as well. And your grandson is a Ninja Warrior competitor on the junior age. So, how do you feel about the season?
All that stuff.
What was all of that for?
Not even relevant.
What was all of that for? It's just a contest to show how much you know. And the crazy thing about it is I do that. So the very thing I hate is something that I do.
Oh. Hey, well,
it sucks when everybody else does it, though.
You are not bad. Trust me. What you just did, I've never heard you do. So I think you're good. You're good right now. But it also, let's say, for example, when I listen into a different sports talk show, or just a radio show, and I want to hear an interview with somebody, right? And I know, okay, this is like a 10-minute window. I get to listen to this conversation with someone, and I hear whomever the host is opine for 2 minutes before they ask the next question, and they also will ask basically a yes or no type question as opposed to something open ended. And then it's like, I'm tuning in to hear your guests, not you. Not right now, at least. So it's just like little things like that. It just drives me up.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, and I would honestly say there are certain members of the media. We stand next to them all the time. But it makes me understand. You might like them personally, but you understand why people don't like to answer questions from the media just by the way that they go about it. It's like, I like you so much. You're one of my homies, but I completely get why, you make people feel uncomfortable. I completely get it. I don't want to get too far in depth just in case people listen to it. I don't want them to be like, they talk about me? What? But it's there. It happens.
Yeah, it definitely does happen. It's amazing just to kind of see how some people go through their process and stuff. And look, we're not perfect. We're not perfect at all. I mean, I stumble through stuff. I'll ask long questions at times. But you always want to try and put your question into context and things like that. But it's, ask your question, pay attention, keep it moving.
I'll say this on the other end too. As far as if you are being interviewed, I hate somebody who's dry the entire time,
Yeah.
because the interview actually does benefit you. Like, it might get tiring, you might get asked a lot of the same questions, different ways or whatever, but at the end of the day, it benefits you. Think about Joel Berry. Think about, KJ Smith, who we'll hear from in a bit. These guys were engaging in their interviews in college, and now all of a sudden they're on network television, right? You see how that works. And so, there's a chance for, you, if you're a sports star, to, take that and flip it. When I would go to back in the day, when you used to be able to go in the locker rooms of NFL games after a game, before COVID and everything hit. One of the more engaging athletes that played for the Carolina Panthers was Greg Olsen. Greg was always willing to answer your question, no matter how outlandish or dumb he may have thought it was. And he gave a thoughtful answer, and he always made time. It's no shock that there was a bidding war for Greg Olsen after he was done playing football. And now he's with Fox as an analyst doing games. That is no surprise. So this is my free PR advice to anybody out there, whether you're an athlete or, whatever else. If you're going to say yes to an interview, if you're going to be interviewed, do not be dry, and think of that as a tryout for more interviews in the future. Because the more somebody enjoys interviewing you, the more you'll be invited back on to do things, and the more opportunities that'll open up for your brand, for, your career later on, whatever it may be. So that's just a free little PR tip for people out there.
Another person that comes to mind, Chris, before we get to Joel and KJ Smith, is someone I actually got to work with a couple times, or a few times, Pat Mcafee. Pat Mcafee was a punter at West Virginia, and then punted and kicked for a long time with the Indianapolis Colts. Awesome, engaging personality, fun and engaging on social media. Now he's one of the biggest sports media personalities out there right now. He's done work with ESPN. He now does commentary on SmackDown for WWE, and he has his daily show as well, all because he's just a fun and engaging personality. It's like he's admitted himself, like, yeah, I was a punter, like I was the least athletic guy out there on the field, but he also understood that his personality and using social media could take him places, and that's exactly what he did. He left his career early. He could still be playing right now. He's only a year younger than us. He's 34. Was one of the best to ever do it. Walked away from it because he wanted to pursue this passion. So yeah, if you use your platform and your personality, it can take you places.
Absolutely. And I really hate how certain athletes and certain artists, when they get interviewed, they're just so dry. Like, so your album, it's out now. There's some really deep tracks on it. What is the inspiration for that?
Well, I want to make good music.
It's just real life, That's just what I'll do. I just keep it real. Okay, Snooze Fest. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Well, now I'm not gonna want to go buy your album now, or
right.
You
convinced nobody.
Exactly. It's also called sales. You have to sell yourself. Exactly. That's all it is.
Which is why, if you think about it, when you're watching wrestling, what is one of the things about wrestling that makes it exciting?
You sell it.
It's the personalities behind it. They are selling you that fight, why you should watch that fight. The same thing when it comes to MMA and boxing. People love Conor McGregor, not just because he's good in the octagon, because he will talk his head off and he will sell you that fight. He makes you interested. Same thing with Muhammad Ali. Same thing with what's my man that just beat Tyson Fury.
Yeah, Tyson Fury.
Amazing, amazing on a mic, and so this is just a big lesson. This is just a big PR session. So this is free 99. We're not going to even send you an invoice. This is just, good, must do's when you're doing an interview with somebody. Anyway, let's get off our high horse for a second.
All right, let's go to Joel and KJ.
Another week of the Culture State podcast, and we had to get this special guest on, Joel Berry. Of course, you know him as a national champion over at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. He also, had a career where he was playing some basketball, was at the Greensboro Swarm for a little stretch and everything. So that was exciting to see. And now he's working on television with a new job with the ACC Network. So we had a chance to get him on. We wanted to get him on and talk about some basketball and his new career in television. Joel Berry, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
So first off, how did the ACC Network thing come about? How did you actually end up going and switching and becoming a media member? Now you're going to be the one asking the questions and saying the things that you feel on television.
Right. No, it started about it happened like 2 years ago, maybe 3 now. But I was still playing, and I had a guy from ESPN come to me and just ask me about, what are my plans after basketball, and I just told him, I haven't thought about it at the moment, but and at that time I was still heavy into basketball, so that it happened then, and once I was done, that was my I had his contact, and I reached out to him and I told him that I was interested, and the offer was still on the table. So I'm thankful for that.
What went into the decision to fully step away from basketball and get into that post-career life?
Yeah, I've always been a guy that's my parents. I mean, it started from when I was younger that to use basketball and not let it use me, and so I used it very well throughout my career. It has taken me all over the place, and I just got to a point where I wanted my life to look a little bit different than being away from my family, having to travel, to live overseas. It opened my eyes and just made me realize how just great that we have it here in America. So I just wanted to be here, and I knew that with my work ethic and what I could, what I bring to the table and how hard I work, that I could do something else. And I just wanted to be here for my family, and I wanted to venture out and do something a little bit different in life.
Before we talk about more of what you're going to be doing for television, I do want to ask about you had a couple of stints with the Charlotte Hornets, had a chance to be on their training camp rosters, and of course a little bit with the Greensboro Swarm. First off, what is it like playing for Michael Jordan? He's the GOAT, of course, and of course the biggest name to come from Carolina, where you played at. But then also, just to be able to be a part of his NBA team and play a little bit of basketball, where you got a chance to make your name in North Carolina as well. How was that experience for you?
It was amazing. I think, just in what we do, being able to make it and say that you're a professional is a blessing in itself. And to be able to play, even if it's a short amount of time in the NBA, I mean, it's a blessing. So being able to do that and then do it here in Charlotte with Michael Jordan being the owner, I didn't really get my chance to really get that time during the season like I would have. But, all things happen for a reason. But just being able to be around the organization, being around the people that were in it, they have amazing people around that organization. As you see, they're doing some big things with the young guys that they have brought in. And so just being around that organization and playing for somebody who, that has Carolina ties, I'm always grateful for that. And like I said, it's always great to be able to say that I played professionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, real quick before we go on, Chris, want to bring on one of your former teammates, KJ Smith, who you're going to be working with on the
He made it.
Network.
Hey, guys, how are you doing, man?
He made it.
Hey,
I apologize for the tardiness. I'm sorry. I thought this was tomorrow, but I'm glad to be here. Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing
Chris,
good. Hey, KJ,
Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, man, it's no surprise, man. This how you was at Carolina, so you good.
Hey, I was never late to a practice at Carolina. I would just like to say that right now. So look, I apologize. There's a new avenue.
Hey, you was late, but you was still on time though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Joel was telling us that you were known to be a little bit late, at times in school.
And what's crazy, Joel? You've known me as a freshman. I've grew up a lot. I've grown up a lot, but this is a bad display of it. But I have grown up a lot. As the next 3 years, they looked at me as like a leader to the team. So this is me becoming a freshman again, I guess.
All good. Better late than never, I guess,
Exactly.
So we're actually
Go ahead,
about to get
Chris.
into a whole television thing. Of course you played at Carolina as well, but now you're along with Joel Berry at the ACC Network, two former Tar Heel guys. And I was just about to ask him a little bit more about the ACC Network thing, but how did it come about for you? How did that opportunity present itself for you to have that?
So for me, I was writing articles and working for a company called On3 and just interviewing a bunch of guys, writing about 50 articles a month, doing player comparisons for high school players and college players. And I loved the behind the scenes work, but I really wanted to kind of be more personable and get to know people and really speak out to a broader audience. And so when the opportunity for ESPN came out, I took it and ran with it, and ever since I had my audition about 2 months ago. I had a stuffy nose. I didn't know if I would be able to, do it, perform well. I took all the medicine under the sun, and it worked out. But so that's pretty much how it came about for me.
So question for both of you. Joel, will go with you first. Now being on the media side of things, as opposed to being a player, do you have a different perspective of the game or a different appreciation for the guys that are out there playing?
Yeah, I mean, we get a chance we've been in the interviews and everything, and it was always about us. And now we get to be on the opposite side, and, we get to, like you said, we get to ask the questions. We get to do the behind the scenes work. And, KJ has been doing some of it since he's left Carolina. But, this is my first time. So I'm excited to take on a new role and to see the game from a different perspective. It's, it's almost like being a guy on the bench, just being able to see the game from another perspective. So I'm happy to be able to do that. And it's a lot of homework that goes into it. So it's almost like going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. KJ, you?
Yeah. So like he said, it's being on the bench and kind of observing. That was me when I got to Carolina. I had so many questions because I wasn't around all the 5-star talent my whole life. So getting to Carolina, you're around all these superstar talent. So you get to ask these questions that, it's from a different perspective. And so I think that's kind of the perspective I bring. Just, the average guy who wasn't the highest recruit, but who knows a lot about basketball. So and been around it, my whole life, obviously, through my dad. I went to Modern Day High School with the winningest coach of California history, then went to IMG Prep School Academy, then went to Pacific with Damon Stoudemire. And then, obviously me and Joel met under Roy Williams, the Hall of Fame coach. So it's been a hell of a journey, and I'm glad to start this career path.
So I have a similar question to what Dennis had, but just on the other side, like, what are some misconceptions maybe you guys had about media and now that are being dispelled because you're now working in it? Like, is there any times at Carolina you guys like, oh my God, I'm tired of these dudes. Why are they always in our business? Anything like that? And now you're in the business now, and do you see it differently from a different standpoint?
Right. That's what I was thinking about. That it's just like, why are y'all asking me these questions? Y'all see it. Y'all saw it on the court. Y'all saw what I saw. So why are y'all asking these questions? So I kind of have a better understanding of why those questions had to be asked, because y'all are trying to see it from our perspective. So, y'all really can't get into our heads. So at the time it was annoying, but now that I'm on the other side, now I have more of appreciation for it. So that's one of the things I thought about. And I don't want to be that dude, but I'm gonna have to be that dude. So.
What about you, KJ?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just from the player's perspective, what questions are dumb questions now. So you're going to, you just block out all those, like, you lost today. How do you feel? Bad, obviously. Those questions aren't going to be asked. But yeah, it's just a different perspective. I think we're the players, so we're kind of on the player side, and they know that.
All right. So give us some examples of some of those dumb questions. Like you just gave us like, oh, you lost. How you feel? Well, no, I feel wonderful. I just lost a game. I feel fantastic. Well, how do you think I feel? But what are some of
So
the
I
dumb
just saw
questions?
Hubert last week, and a question, he was like, these reporters ask the craziest questions. He was like, they asked him, you're the new coach of North Carolina Tar Heels. What's the state of ACC basketball right now? And he's like, I don't know. I just been in my gym. I haven't been in every gym in ACC. It's just stuff like that just pisses people off.
What's the craziest question you've been asked, Joel?
Oh, I mean, I can't name the amount of crazy questions have been asked. It's just like for me, it was the obvious stuff that we all see. So it's like y'all turn over the ball tonight. What would have been the difference if you didn't turn over the ball? It's just like, well, you already know we would have won the game. I mean, it's that simple. It's like, bro, you had a lot of turnovers. How can you stop doing it? Don't turn over the ball. It's just that simple. So it's like those kind of questions that kind of irk me a little bit. But as you look back on it, sometimes you just laugh at it.
I do want to ask you guys this, though, because now that you are on this side, you do have to remain neutral in some spots. So, if it's a big game, Carolina versus NC State or Carolina versus Duke, and you guys are there covering it, and there's no cheering in the press box. That's what they teach you in journalism school. There's no cheering in the press box. How are you guys going to be able to hold it together as you're seeing your team go against go against Duke or go against NC State or another heated rival, a team that you maybe didn't like to play, or Virginia or something like that, and keep it together and be a true media member and not show that emotion?
Go Heels! No.
Foul, man.
No, you get to know these players. I think stepping away from it, there's always a mutual respect, especially within the ACC. You can root for people, but I think at the same time, our job now is to, take a step back and, dissect the game. And that's what, as 2 point guards, that's what we're great at. So I think it won't be hard. I think, yes, we'll always kind of want a root for UNC or whatever, but just because we know the guys there, but it won't be hard just to, dissect the game and analyze the game from a reporting standpoint.
Yeah, I can just off of what he said, being able to, we always had a respect for other teams, especially when Duke, Carolina, that's more of the fans that made it that way. But for us behind the scenes, we knew a lot of those guys playing AAU. We know a lot of the guys that we played with. So, and it's still like that today, but having that respect for the other teams and, when we were there is, that's what goes into it. And we're grown men now. So we know how to, we handle ourselves the right way and be able to talk, from a respective point and be able to cheer our team on, but, at the same time, just keep it in a respectful way.
Now, kind of go a little bit away from TV right now. All right, Joel, you're originally from Florida, if I remember correctly, right?
I am.
So I want to get both of your perspectives of what it was like playing basketball here in the state of North Carolina that has such a deep and rich history.
For me, it was very different. In Florida, it's a football state. So for me to make it out of Florida playing basketball is very rare. We've had, some people who've made it out, but it's very rare to go to a big time school. It's a little bit different today, but at the time it was very rare. So being in North Carolina, it was great. And I got a chance in high school to come up. I think it was in Raleigh, that big tournament that they have up there. And I got a chance to play in that. And that's when I really understood, kind of got the understanding of what I was getting ready to go into going to Carolina. So it kind of got me ready for it to see how basketball in North Carolina, how it was.
And KJ, you have a different perspective because your father played at UNC. So what was it like for you originally starting at Pacific and coming all the way out to North Carolina to play?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me was just the fan base is ridiculous between all schools out there. But I remember going to the mall and, you know, people recognizing you like, oh, you just transferred. Oh, you know, that was not happening anywhere. I don't care if you're in, like, if I lived in LA. So I was never getting recognized in the mall in LA. You know, there's everybody out here. But you go to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and, you know, there's 22,000 people that pack up an arena every game. That was unheard of for me. So it was just an unbelievable experience.
KJ, I do want to know about, you know, your audition and what types of tips you got from your dad, and what is he you know, I guess teaching you about, I guess, this world of media right now.
Well, yeah. So when I went for my audition, I was extremely nervous. But he kind of just told me, look, be yourself. Because, you know, if you sell yourself, you know, your knowledge that you have, it'll display through the screen. And I think the one note he gave me was just show emotion, you know, be overly emotional, because you really care about it, and that's what people want to see.
Is there anyone
Awesome,
in broadcasting that either you two looked up to, possibly, or maybe had, you know, studied or admired?
Until I was getting ready to do this job, I really didn't pay attention to it. But,
Which is fair. Totally fair.
Yeah, to be honest, but now that, you know, that I'm going into this role, as I watch college football right now, I just try to look at how the guys are talking, you know, at the halftime shows. And it just takes on a different perspective for me now, now that I'm getting ready to go into it. So I pay a little bit more attention to it now than I usually, you know, when I just am watching just to watch. But it takes on a different role now and takes on a different meaning. So just being able to watch those guys while they're in, you know, deep in their season right now, just trying to pick up, you know, some tips and what they're doing and how they're, you know, coming across, and how they're articulating what they're seeing out on the field, and stuff like that. So it takes on a different meaning now.
All right, so before we started recording, you know, and we were waiting for KJ. It's not a little dig or anything. I just wanted to. We were just getting a chance to talk to Joel, and he was telling us about what he has going on in his life, and he's working on some big time things in the finance world. So tell people who are listening about that, like, you know, what you're doing now and what the plans are for you in the finance world. Also, because TV, I mean, a network television job is your part-time job, which is amazing to say. but in your full-time job, you're also there trying to make some other people some money.
Yeah, it's I got blessed with being able to get into the role that I'm starting in. Will be associate for financial advisor, as I learn the ropes of the financial world and investments, and studying to get my license to become a financial advisor, if that's what I want to do one day, which I think I do. But so yeah, I'm doing that right now, and studying my tail off and just trying to do what I can. But I will be going into that role, and so I'm excited. So I got a lot on my plate right now, but I like being busy. I like being able to do things. And the biggest thing is, I know one day that I'll be able to help somebody and their families reach the goals that they want to reach.
So KJ, you take your portfolio over to Joel.
Yeah, there it is.
Up over there.
There it is.
Right.
So what got you into that, and what excites you about the financial world and wanting to just be more a part of that and the investing portion of it?
Right. So when we went into quarantine when COVID first hit, my wife had signed us up for a TD Ameritrade account. And so ever since then, since I've been studying it kind of interests me a little bit. And once I got done playing, actually one of my in-laws introduced me to a guy that works at Truist. And from there, it just hit off. And I was so grateful to be able to be in that position to meet him. And so from then on, I was like, you know, this is something I was interested in the past, but it really didn't have a meaning to it. I was just doing it to pass by the time. And so when this opportunity came, I had to jump on it, and I'm so happy that I did. So I'm very excited.
KJ, what's your world post school looking like outside of working with television?
Yeah, so like I said, I was writing articles. I stopped doing that up to last week. I was doing ESPN socials last week. So right now I'm just trying to figure out, study as much as I can. I'm not quite ready for Joel's investment because maybe I just have ESPN right now, so maybe I don't need. I could manage my money right now, but yeah, I mean, I'm putting a lot of work in just studying basketball. And we start in January, but people might think that's a long time away, but it does take a lot of practice. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about the ACC that I want to be able to know before I go on TV and really speak my mind about this sport and represent my family and everybody that helped me get to this step. So there's a lot of practice and studying I'm going into for this.
All right, guys. Well, put on your analyst hat right now and tell us about the North Carolina Tar Heels. Like, what do they have going for them this year? What are you worried about? Like, we want to hear all the analysts right now. You can get ready for it. This is the training wheels for you get to ESPN and do it there.
Joel, do you want to go first or me?
You can go ahead.
All right. Well, I saw them last week. I went to a practice. They look completely different as far as an offensive standpoint. So they have, instead of the two traditional bigs or multiple traditional bigs, they have just one in Armando Bacot. They have shooting fours, and everybody on the team can shoot a three, including Armando. He made a three in their blue-white game at late night with Hubert Davis. So it's going to be interesting. They have a new year with new head coach with Hubert Davis. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but they have the talent to be the top of the ACC. That's my take.
Okay.
I'm excited. It's a new era in Carolina, and it will be weird, but I'm excited because I know the passion that Coach Davis has, and I know you guys have probably seen all the interviews and the stuff on Instagram. And every time Coach Davis shows up, it's always passionate. Every time he talks, it sounds like he's about to cry, but it's because he's just so passionate about everything that he does. So that in itself just makes me excited. But I didn't get a chance to get to late night like KJ did and see them. But just from what I've been hearing from outside, talking to people, that it's totally different in how Coach Davis has restructured this roster with, having the one traditional big and everybody else being able to spread out and shoot the ball. And it's just the way the game has changed. And it's no knock on Coach Williams' offense, but you have to be able to shoot the three ball, and you have to spread the court to allow your point guards and your guards to be able to get in the lane. And so I'm excited for them. And like I said, it's just a whole new era that I think will be different for everybody. And that's what's exciting for me. And like KJ said, you're going to have your ups and downs, but people just have to stay patient and just know that this is a work in progress, and be ready for the change.
Absolutely.
My final question for both of you is, we'll start with you, KJ. What was your reaction when Coach Williams stepped down and Hubert got hired?
Well, it happened. It wasn't right away. So when Roy retired, it was April Fool's Day, so I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in complete shock. But I was happy for him because he felt that he made the right decision. But for me, it was mostly just I couldn't believe it. And it also included me being the last class to have him as a head coach. So it was very, I take pride in that, that he was my coach. For Coach Davis, I couldn't be happier. I don't think anybody. I think he was a perfect person for the job. I think it was right for him. The kids love him, and they're going to play hard for him. And I'm just happy for who he is as a person and as a man. I think he's going to be a great coach.
Well, let's just start off by saying y'all can't say it's a joke because that's my birthday. I was born on April 4th.
Fellow Aries. Okay. Fellow Aries.
Yeah. So I was born. So when I heard it, I was like, there's no way Coach would do this on my birthday.
Oh, he took your day.
Yeah, he took my day from me. Like, that was my day when everybody was supposed to tell me happy birthday. And all I got was people calling me, "Hey, Joe, is this about Coach True?" I'm like, yeah, but do you know it's my birthday though, right? So that kind of, yeah, but it was definitely something that caught me by surprise when everybody was calling me and asking me. Everybody thought, like y'all said, it was an April Fool's joke. I mean, on Twitter, it was like, is this real? So it really didn't feel real. And it's just crazy that, I didn't see it happening. But like KJ said, the fact is that I'm excited for Coach Davis. So it was a surprise, but I could kind of see it with Coach Williams and how things were going. I feel like he was the last person that could have dealt with the NIL just by the way, him being more old school. And so that's hard. I mean, he's all about the team. And so some of those things with the NIL, it can mess with team chemistry. But, I just feel like it was something that you could kind of see coming, but you just didn't want to accept the fact that it was true.
Well, I'm sorry you had to spend your birthday that way.
It's all good. It's more of an honor that I can always look back and say he retired on my birthday. So
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he accepted the job on April 1st. If I'm not mistaken, I have to go back and look that up. But like on the day or the year that, or was it that Matt Doherty was fired on April 1st? It was something like that. Wow. But something like that on April 1st with his transition ended up happening. I've got to go back and look that up, but it was
that'd be pretty cool if that happened.
Yeah.
Hey, KJ, I want to ask you a question. Did he go out and kiss the court? I heard he kissed.
Yeah, so I asked him last week about that. So it was our last home game and he kissed the court and everybody thought he knew he was gonna retire. And I didn't see him kiss the court. I saw him like knock on the court, but I didn't see him kiss the court. But he was basically saying that all year we didn't get to have fans at home at all, but we won every game at home that year.
Wow.
But won, I believe. And so, our last game, we were down 20 against Florida State, and it was our one game we had fans at. And at halftime, Coach Davis gave a great speech, motivated everybody, and we came back and won the game. And if fans weren't there, we wouldn't have won that game. So at the end, he kissed the floor because we had it was such a crazy year, but we had such a good home record at home. So he was just thankful that we had such a great year at home. It had nothing to do with him retiring.
So we at the news station, we got a lot of questions about that too, because people saw that. And honestly, at the time, I was telling people, I was like, I mean, I think Roy is signed for the next 8 years. I could see Coach K retiring before he's retiring. He's going to be around here.
Yeah.
I didn't make anything of it because I did see that. And then, just a few days later, you hear it and it comes out. And, we thought it was an April Fool's joke at first too. We had to, try to call and confirm everything with everybody, but it was definitely a wild few days between that and Hubert Davis accepting the job. So, but I'm excited to see where it goes. I know you guys are excited to see where it goes. It's your alma mater, for sure. And I'm excited to see you guys on the ACC Network, and doing, good jobs there. Tell everybody, I guess, when you guys will be on television, what shows you guys are going to be working with, and what your roles will be.
So we both start in January, but I'll be on the Nothing But Net show with Carlos Boozer, and Luke Hancock. So, I'm excited about that. I think having that North Carolina Duke, and then a Louisville in there, and then 2 MOPs from the national championship. I mean, it's a lot of clout on that show. So
absolutely.
So I'll be on Tuesdays with Kelsey Griggs. We're going to be doing the halftimes of games and post-game show. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to be on like an open court type show. It's going to be more relaxed. We're just going to be kind of sitting on chairs and just talking basketball.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it. And I definitely, now that we know your birthday, I'm sure that MOP national championship year was the best birthday present ever, right?
Oh yeah, it was amazing, man. My sophomore year, it was kind of like, dang, that was a terrible birthday gift. But we came back around and made up for it. And it was always a blessing to be able to make it past my birthday because I knew that we were playing amazing basketball. So it was great. And that's something I'll always remember. But now I got Coach Williams retiring, so I don't know.
Well, good luck to you guys. I can't wait to watch you guys for sure. And, we'll be watching and rooting for you here as well. And so, and then we'll also try to get you guys back on too when things start getting heated back up in the ACC so we can talk about some ACC hoops with you guys. Joe Barry and KJ Smith, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right, Dennis, I really enjoyed that chat with KJ Smith and also Joel Barry. It's interesting to see where they're going in life. I absolutely thought that Joel Barry would be playing basketball for a few more years, but it felt like, he's at peace with his decision, and he's now at this point where he can talk about basketball, and he also can, make a lot of money in the finance world too. So, shout outs to him, and shout outs for him, having a growing family as well, and starting to leave his legacy for sure.
Yeah, those two young guys, engaging personalities, a lot of fun, just a lot of charisma that coming from the two of them. I think those two are going to do really, really well. Starting off with the ACC Network, and then their careers, I think, are definitely going to continue to grow for sure. Joel Barry, it's hard to step away from a sport, something that you can possibly do at a professional level, whether it's in the G League here in the States or playing overseas. It's like, you know what? Time to move forward. Time to take that next step. And it takes a lot of guts, because a lot of people don't know when to make that call. Like you said, he seems like he's at peace with it and he's happy. And
he sounded like somebody that wanted to dictate when he was done instead of letting the game dictate when he was done. And so many times you see people kind of hang on to something, and they're trying so hard to make sure that they can stick with it. And then it just kind of gets sad after a moment. I don't want to name any names, but I've known a few wrestlers like that. And it's like, we love you, but like, come on.
It's funny how they still keep showing up. Imagine that. We won't get into that. But oftentimes, at least when it comes to athletes, I will wrap up here. Oftentimes with athletes, your retirement from the game, at least from a truly competitive level, is chosen for you. You don't choose it yourself. Like for me, my competitive career ended with my final game. It was my final regular season game my senior year. We ended in a 3-way tie for the final 2 spots of our conference tournament. We were the third team that was left out, just because of the tie-breaking stuff. My career was ended for me. I didn't get a chance. I mean, I could still go play club and things like that. It ain't the same. So my career was ended for me. So the fact that someone got to go out there and end their career on their own terms, in terms of I'm stepping away because I want to, not because I have to, or I'm being told I have to. It's not something a lot of people get.
Well, I kind of walked away from wrestling on my own terms in a way, but other life decisions kind of forced that on me, which is why I do want to go back, just to have a few more matches that I feel like I should have had. And then just to say like, okay, I'm good with it. I can walk away.
Exactly. But here's the thing, that door is still open for you. Like for me, I'm not good enough to play pro lacrosse. So it's just, things like that. But
you're good enough in my heart.
Darn right I am.
This is the awkward part of the podcast.
No, this is the loving and caring portion of the podcast.
I feel like we just stared into each other's eyes right there.
We did. For
the
those
folks that are watching.
Yeah, for those listening, they heard it. Trust me.
That's hilarious. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Culture State Podcast. This is where we wrap it up, B. And go ahead.
It's real simple, B.
Yeah, just wrap it up. Hope you guys give us 5 stars, positive vibes, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow us at Chris Lee TV, at The Fan Rookie, at Culture State Pod, all that good stuff. And the thing is, we're consistent on all of our platforms, so you can find us there, with Twitter and Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Also, while you're there, make sure you follow our sponsor at Papa Murphy's on Twitter and on Instagram. That's right, Papa Murphy's Pizza, our wonderful sponsor here at the Culture State Podcast. Every Tuesday, get any large pizza for just $10.99. Papa Murphy's.
Can I say it?
Say it.
Change the way you pizza, baby.
No.
Like that. And we out.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WRAL Sports Fan app.